This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The government defending the purchase of that nearly $200,000 BMW. The government and the opposition MPs clashing over time allotted for debate in the House. And more than 200 Haitian migrants deported. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, March 21st, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking with the F&M about their anti-crime initiative, which they launched this week. And later in business, we're talking with RBC and mortgages and a special promotion they have. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the Davis administration pushing back against opposition claims that its decision to purchase a $192,000 BMW vehicle for the Prime Minister's use was an abuse of public funds. In a statement, the Minister said the car was purchased after the previous one began mechanical issues. The matter became an issue after the invoice for the purchase was widely circulated on social media, with some observers claiming the purchase was outrageous as the government continues to run a substantial deficit. The invoice circulated as the government also faced claims by the opposition that the Prime Minister's travels with large delegations was an abuse of the public purse. The Prime Minister and delegation are due to return from Botswana today. In the statement, saying that it sought clarity, seeking to provide clarity on the issue, the Office of the Prime Minister saying, quote, state vehicles are the property of the Bahamian people, are in service across multiple administrations. It mentioned that a Mercedes purchased by the Ingram administration in 2011 and cost $300,000 and that it had been used by 4 different prime ministers, including the current prime minister. But it said that vehicle was currently experiencing mechanical issues, raising concerns about safety and reliability, and that it was decided. The statement saying, quote, a new BMW vehicle was purchased to replace the Mercedes. For the first time, an electric vehicle was chosen for the Office of the Prime Minister, reflecting broader government policy to transition government vehicles to electric ones, which are cleaner and offer cost savings over time. This vehicle is currently being customized to meet the stringent security and functional requirements necessary for transporting a Prime Minister. It also mentioned that a Lexus is currently being repaired and is not in use. And to ensure no interruption in the Prime Minister's official duties, BMW has been temporarily loaned to the office. Lexus is repaired and the new BMWs in the service will have 2 vehicles in rotation. While the OPM statement notably failed to disclose the sum of the new BMW, Office of the Prime Minister Press Secretary Keishla Adderley said during an OPM press briefing yesterday that the vehicle did cost $192,000. F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands called the purchase a waste of public funds. Chaos ensued in the House of Assembly after government debate early on 2 bills without the consent of the opposition. After Leader of Government Business in the House, Wayne Munro, moved to end debate early. F&M MPs stood to their feet shouting and leveling accusations that they were being silenced as the proceedings continued. The back and forth forced House of Assembly Speaker Patricia DeVoe to raise her voice to be heard. Government MPs ultimately passed the Boat Registration Amendment Bill 2024 and the Water Skiing and Motorboat Control Amendment Bill 2024, and the House was adjourned. Minister of National Security Wayne Munro says that the Bahamas will not accede to Amnesty International's calls for countries to suspend deportations to crisis-stricken Haiti. In fact, Munro said the Bahamas repatriated 263 Haitians to Haiti via Royal Bahamas Defense Force vessels yesterday. He said 2, the HMBS Kamalami and the HMBS Lawrence Major, sailed to Haiti from Managua on Tuesday and arrived at a port in Cap Haitien at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. The crew of the ships, supplemented by 10 commandos from the Commando Squadron and 17 armed immigration officers and intelligence officers from the Defense Force. The Court of Appeal refusing to grant leave to appeal a judgment awarding damages to a policeman who was unlawfully detained by his superior officers. The authorities, however, can still seek leave to appeal directly to the Privy Council, the country's highest court. The proposed appeal stems from an incident involving Sergeant Theodore Neely in 2016. While on duty at the Central Detective Unit, Neely was overheard saying that another officer who had been arrested should be freed. After leaving work, he received a call to return to then Chief Superintendent Clayton Fernander, who questioned him about the remarks he made. Neely was informed that he was going to see the then Commissioner of Police at police headquarters, asked to drive his vehicle, and his request was denied. He was transported in a police vehicle accompanied by the Chief Superintendent and 2 inspectors. In seeking leave to appeal, National Security Minister Wayne Munro, KC, argued that the case raised a point of general public importance. According to Munro, Neely had complied with a lawful order by getting into the police car with his superior officers and was consequently not unlawfully detained as a member of a disciplined force. He argued that if that were the law, then it would create great difficulties for all disciplined forces, and consequently that this is a proper case to grant conditional leave to appeal to the apex court. However, the Court of Appeal noted that these arguments were not raised during the trial in the Supreme Court or at the appeal of the judge's decision. As such, leave to the Privy Council was refused. And a 43-year-old man was sentenced to 7 years in prison after he admitted to repeatedly molesting his then-girlfriend's minor daughter. The man's name has been withheld to protect the victim's identity. The convict was cohabitating with the victim's mother in Providence when he began with her 11-year-old daughter in December of 2020. The matter was reported to the police on November 8, 2021, when the then 12-year-old girl's mother learned of the sexual abuse. The man pleaded guilty to 12 counts of unlawful sexual intercourse as part of a plea deal when he appeared before Justice Renee McKay. The convict was sentenced pursuant to the agreement. He was represented by Ian Cargill. Overseas, armed gangs launching new attacks in the suburbs of Port-au-Prince with heavy gunfire echoing across once peaceful communities near the Haitian capital. Associated Press journalists reported seeing at least 5 bodies in and around the suburbs, and gangs blocked the entrances to some areas. People in the communities under fire called radio stations pleading for help from Haiti's National Police Force, which remains understaffed and outmatched by the gangs. Among the communities targeted in the pre-dawn hours were Pinchaville, Mayotte, Diegue, and Métiville. By Wednesday afternoon, another victim had been reported, a police officer killed in broad daylight in a Port-au-Prince neighborhood known as Delmas 72. As the attacks continued yesterday, the U.S. State Department announced that it had completed its first evacuation of American citizens from Port-au-Prince. More than 15 Americans were airlifted to neighboring Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic. More than 30 U.S. citizens will be able to leave Port-au-Prince daily aboard the U.S. government-organized helicopter flights. On Sunday, the agency evacuated more than 30 U.S. citizens from the coastal city of Cap-Haitien in northern Haiti to Miami International Airport. And as Venezuela's government would have it, President Nicolás Maduro and members of his inner circle have been the target of several conspiracies since last year that could have left them injured or worse. Few details have been released about the alleged plots, but the government has cited them in the arrest of more than 30 people since January, including a prominent human rights attorney and staffers of the leading opposition presidential candidate. Local and international, the United Nations, and foreign governments have described the crackdown as a pretext to stifle political opposition ahead of the July 28th president election, in which Maduro, in power since 2013, will seek a new 6-year term. The latest arrest took place Wednesday, shortly before the country's top prosecutor announced arrest warrants for 9 people working with Machado's campaign, whom he accused of participating in one plot. In sports, Bahamas erupting for 6 runs in the first inning on Wednesday and went on to pound Argentina 18-11 at the World Baseball Softball Confederation's 15 and under Pan American Championships, currently underway in Santo Domingo. The 5-day classic, a qualifier for the WBSC 15 under World Cup later this year, features some of the best teams in the region. The Bahamas is ranked at number 59 in the world on the senior side, and the two nations they were able to beat in the tournament, Panama and Argentina, are at numbers 10 and 31, respectively. They finished in a 3-way for third in their group with a 2-3 win-loss record, just missing out on an advancement to the final round of play by virtue of net runs. Brazil won the tiebreaker and advanced to the 5th-6th place game overall. Just the top 3 teams in each group advanced, and the top 5 teams overall earn a spot in the WBSC 15 under World Cup. You can read more about how the Bahamas did in today's Guardian Sports section. And it's just 1 week remaining in the New Providence Vaulting season, and teams are positioning themselves for seeding and a run for the playoffs. One of the hottest teams in the league is the University of Bahamas Mingos. The Mingos women volleyball squad picking up their 3rd win in a row Monday, turning back the Set C Poppers in 4 sets over the D.W. Davis gym at the gym. The Mingos prevailing 25-21, 24-26, 25-15, and 25-11 to prove 8-9 win-loss record on the season. They're now in 4th place in the standings and are trying to hold on to the 4th and final playoff spot. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Easy Car. We've got an eastward drifting high-pressure system that will dominate the weather across the Bahamas, supporting pleasant weather conditions and a moderate to fresh breeze across the country. There is a moderate risk of rip currents, though, along Atlantic coastlines in the northwest and central Bahamas and throughout the southeastern islands. West and central islands, partly mostly sunny and mild with a passing shower, becoming partly cloudy, cool, and breezy tonight. Small craft operators report. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots tonight in the northwest Bahamas, and northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, becoming easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the central islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet, building up to 4 to 6 feet tonight. Seas will be higher along Atlantic exposures. For the southeast Bahamas today, look for partly sunny, mild, and breezy conditions with isolated showers, becoming fair and cool tonight. Small craft operators should not venture far from port. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet. Temperatures today, we're expecting highs in the upper 70s, around 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. A cool night expected tonight, lows getting down to about 57 Fahrenheit, 14 Celsius. Some changes are coming, though. We'll tell you about that in your extended outlook coming up in just a bit. This first look at weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. You've heard of electric vehicles. Well, isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to test drive an EV at Harbor Bay Plaza all day this Saturday, March 23rd, in the CIBC parking lot. Come and see the 20 new affordable and powerful electric models. Find out how to save money and drive better in an EV from Easy Car Sales this Saturday at Harbor Bay. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discussed by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Three-Way Productions presents Showtime at Nassau Cruise Port. Experience live performances every weekend. The elegance of classical music, the infectious energy of Latin nights, the smooth sounds of jazz night, and a delightful evening of Bahamian music. March 15th and 16th and March 22nd and 23rd. Visit www.nassaucruiseport.com/events to learn more. Nassau Cruise Port, the place to be.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on Guardian Talk Radio, Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Got a lot to talk about this morning. Scheduled to appear with us, we've got the FNM talking about their anti-crime initiative. They launched that this week. We'll get some details about that from them this morning. And then later in business, we're talking about mortgages. We're talking with RBC about their promotion and getting some helpful information, hopefully. That's all ahead. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And Laverne Gardner joining us now. Good morning, Laverne.
Good morning. Good morning.
Great to have you with us as always.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's get into it. It seems everybody's talking about this. The BMW, the nearly $200,000 BMW. A lot of people with some varying various views about this, but seeking to provide clarity. This was brought up at the OPM press conference yesterday, and a statement was issued as well. We'll get to the statement in just a bit, but I want you to listen to this, the comments from the press secretary in this report from our Destiny Johnson.
Appreciate that the Office of the Prime Minister needs a vehicle. It is not a vehicle of the Prime Minister. It is purchased for the office.
Acting Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Keishla Adderley, is defending the government's recent purchase of a 2024 BMW valued at $192,000 for the Prime Minister. She says the last vehicle purchased was in 2011 and the car was experiencing mechanical issues.
That vehicle is expected to last for at least 10 years. That is the investment that is expected to be derived from the purchase of this vehicle. I'll also say that at a previous point, another vehicle that may not be considered in the luxury category was purchased. That did not survive for as long as was anticipated. I think the life of that was 6 years. So the object here is to obviously have a vehicle for the Office of the Prime Minister.
On Tuesday, the Free National Movement criticized the government's spending on this week's trip to Botswana and the new luxury vehicle. Adderley says all the government spending is to free.
We expect to see the benefits of those travels and those collaborations going forward. On the other hand, the government has also spent, obviously, to the benefit of Bahamians. We have a social assistance program that was improved in the previous budget. We have a school breakfast program that was initiated to provide breakfast for children who otherwise may not have had a hot breakfast, if at all. So, it can't be viewed in a vacuum. Spending has to be done, and it's done on both ends of the spectrum.
She says Bahamians should not look at spending in a vacuum.
The Prime Minister travels, obviously, to make connections with other world leaders for the benefit of the Bahamas, whether it's traveling and consulting or striking deals that will allow us to have more favorable terms for borrowing money, especially in the case of disaster, for example, advocating on behalf of the Bahamas in the financial services space for fairer terms in the financial services sector, or, for example, traveling to Botswana to make connections or collaboration between banks in the Caribbean and the African region.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Destiny Johnson.
Okay, so even after that, there was another statement providing even more clarity from the Office of the Prime Minister. And so this is entitled Official Statement from the Office of the Prime Minister on the Purchase of a State Vehicle. The Office of the Prime Minister wishes to provide clarity regarding the state vehicles in use by this office. State vehicles are the property of the Bahamian people and are in service across multiple administrations. For example, a Mercedes purchased by the Ingram administration in 2011 for $300,000 has been used by 4 different prime ministers, including the current prime minister. This vehicle recently experienced mechanical issues that raised concerns about safety and reliability. It was decided to discontinue its use. A new BMW vehicle was purchased to replace the Mercedes. For the first time, an electric vehicle was chosen for the Office of the Prime Minister, reflecting broader government policy to transition government vehicles to electric ones, which are cleaner and offer cost savings over time. This vehicle is currently being customized to meet the stringent security and functional requirements necessary for transporting a prime minister. Additionally, a Lexus is currently being repaired and is thus not in use. To ensure no interruption in the Prime Minister's official duties, a BMW has been temporarily loaned to the office. The Lexus once repaired, and the recently procured vehicle will be the 2 vehicles in rotation as customary. Okay, so what say you on this? This is very interesting. I remember the Mercedes. I remember there being controversy. Do I remember $300,000? That for 2011, wow, that's a lot of money back then. But there was the same reaction, the exact same reaction to the purchase of that vehicle. Do you remember that, Laverne?
Vaguely.
Yeah. It certainly was exactly like this. And people were freaking out. Now, 300,000 Mercedes in 2011. Was that a V12? Because only the V12s were that expensive. That's crazy that they'd buy a V12. Wow. Anyway, let's get your reaction. What do you say?
They included whatever, customization.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. That may be the final price once customization and everything is done.
Could be. That could be it. But I know that definitely there were V12s being sold here for that price. But as you say, it might have been a V8 and they upgraded it for the security purposes. It's possible. I'll see if I can find some articles while we discuss. But let's hear from you on it. What say you? Someone sent me the commentary on social media has been outrageous. So just sent me this joke this morning. Somebody's asking on, I don't know what platform this is, maybe Twitter, maybe Facebook. Somewhere.
It isn't on your favorite X?
It could be. I can't really tell. It was a screenshot, so I don't know which one it is. But it's some form of social media. So somebody asked, well, should the Prime Minister of a whole country drive a Corolla or a March? And that...
Yes, so, wait. That's all his citizens can afford.
Oh, wow. Well, even better response.
I'm joking.
I believe that's how you feel, Laverne.
No, I'm just kidding.
This person says, well, Jesus rode on a donkey and he was the Son of God. Well, there you go.
I love it. Of course. That's funny. That is funny, Dwight. I'm sorry. It's very funny.
Well, it'll be very bad if a donkey falls in one of these potholes. It wouldn't be good.
Oh, Lord.
So I don't think that would be a good idea for our Prime Minister. But let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
That was funny.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Fix the Lexus. Things tough, man. All right, fix the Lexus.
They say they need to have 2 vehicles, a rotation of vehicles, in case something happens to one.
Fix the Lexus. It'd be a tough time. Fix the Lexus.
Well, you don't want the Prime Minister to not show up because the car broke down.
No, man, they have other vehicles.
Yes, they have that $200,000 BMW.
Yeah, that's too much money.
Okay.
So right now, I have to keep my car. I can't buy no new car either. So Let's if I feel it, he should feel it. Everybody should feel it, eh? Let's cut back until we get things better in the country.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Interesting. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You can call in as well, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Pleasant good morning, Dwight. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
That's excellent. And to Laverne, pleasant good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. This may be not a popular offering, but I mean, that's fine. Dwight, I think and politics aside, the leader of the country is the leader of the country, and we enjoy an environment where I think we take certain things for granted. I think most people in security, law enforcement, would tell you that securing the leader of the country is of paramount importance. The price tag is not my concern. The brand is not my concern, but the protection of the office, not the individual. And hopefully the car is being outfitted with some bulletproof glass and armor plating, because think about the ramifications. In the event you do have some crazy that decided to launch an attack on the office or on the individual. That puts us in a very precarious position internationally, knowing that we depend on tourism. So I hope that considerations, I heard them say about vehicles being prepared. I hope that includes actual protection. So that's, I think, my biggest concern is that, not the individual, not the politics. But it is important, and for anything to go south, there could be some serious ramifications for us, man. Look at what's going on to the folks down south.
Okay.
Thanks for allowing me to contribute.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. So I'm looking at some articles from 2012, 2013, and these are citing the Mercedes that was purchased as being at a cost of $185,000. So
Right.
I don't know where that 300 came from.
Like I said, maybe that's after it was outfitted or something like that. Why the price went up almost double.
So we're saying that nearly 15 years later, the cost to outfit a vehicle in this way has gone down? That's what we're thinking?
Dwight, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
That's very interesting. Okay. I really don't remember 300,000.
I do not remember it being $300,000. Now, I do vaguely remember there was a lot of talk at the time. I do remember that, but I don't remember the price tag being $300,000. So I'm just saying that perhaps, I don't know. I don't know why the price is so high. You're looking at an article that says $185,000. I don't know.
Maybe they calculated, 185,000 in 2011 is worth 300,000 today. Maybe that's what they do. I have no idea. Plus, I don't think it is, but we'll look that up too. But interesting. It was a lot of money back then. 185,000 was mind-boggling.
It was a lot of money back then, and it's a lot of money now.
It is indeed.
Can we just agree on that?
Yeah. But I will agree with the previous caller. The safety is important. And I do,
sure.
And I do think, well, boy, I have to be careful. You do have to present an image. Like the texter was saying that we were laughing at. You don't want gently used Corolla. That's a perfectly fine vehicle. Absolutely. But good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Golly day, this is talking away so long with you and
Laverne.
Dwight.
Yes.
Good morning,
we need justice, law, and order in this country. Good morning, Laverne. I remember when the former Prime Minister, Penland, was living on Soldier Road, right? Then he used to pass up and down all over the place in whatsoever he was driving. I can't remember. But the thing is, he never had the problem in which these people just talk about today. This thing could happen, and the other thing could happen. Nobody want to hide anybody. the Prime Minister and those, unless all these people want to do is cost the Bahamian public a bunch of money. You can tell me now, every 3 to 5 years you can pay more than $250,000 for a car? They're jiving, and some people can't eat, some on strike just to get things done for them and their money and stuff like that. That's a bunch of bull. People got to get right in this country, and the people that causing problem in this country is the same politicians, okay? Because they just come up with law and they say things to cause people think the other way. And other one again, who's similar to that, is Wayne. They jive and they just think the Bahamian people are a bunch of donkey. They got to behave themselves.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we have had
How do you
threats.
feel about it, Dwight?
I said, I mean, I don't really have. I think people are making it a bigger deal than it is. It is a lot of money, but if you're hoping that the car will be in service for 10 years across many different administrations, then I get it. Right? Sometimes if you spend a little more, it'll last a little longer. Sometimes. But to what Brendan was saying, though, it's we can't think like that nobody wants to hurt anybody. We've had threats against our leaders before, including this one. You remember there was a whole case. There's somebody who was charged to all kinds of things, and you never know until it happens for the first time, right? And you need to prevent it. You cannot make it easy just because you thought we were peaceful and nobody would do this. So you have to take all kinds of precautions. We're very lax around here with a lot of things. And so I don't think that that's not. I don't know about that one. But cars are expensive. Even a brand new compact vehicle is a lot more than people think, and a lot more than it was even just a few years ago. And
hence all of the marches on the road.
Yes, people are buying used vehicles at a record pace. It seems here in this country because it is very expensive. But to say that, well, if I can't do it, then the Prime Minister shouldn't have it. Again, it's not his personal vehicle. It'll be used, hopefully, for
I think, and too, and you may have said it already, talked about it before, but I think too, part of it is optics. Part of it is that people are genuinely struggling in the country and finding it difficult to just buy ordinary bread basket items. And so when you hear that, people think to them, people may feel a certain way. So it may have a lot to do with optics. And then when the story first came out, I don't think anybody really believed that how it happened is the way that it happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of just made you look at this story like, what?
Yeah. Well,
so,
you remember,
like I said, so optics, and with people feeling that the way that they feel, I shouldn't say just feel, with people experiencing so much hardship and so much difficulty and the prices of everything. It seems like certainly if there are no new taxes, there are new fees, and it just feels like it's very difficult for the common person here to really try to provide for their families. You're seeing an erosion of the middle class. And so with people having to leave certain islands leave their families to go and work someplace else. So when you look at it in the light of that, you could appreciate how some of the reaction is. And I think it's really based on that, because overall, people, of course, understand that it is the Prime Minister. And like you said, you want to make sure that he has a properly outfitted car.
Mm-hmm. It would be highly embarrassing if you're driving down Robinson Road and see the Prime Minister stranded on the side of the street. I don't know if people would like that very much.
But like I said, it's in light of, when you look at it in light of what everybody other people are experiencing in this country.
Sure. But the
and so,
hypocrisy here still is astounding because you heard Keishla Adderley at the press conference mention that a non-luxury vehicle was in use and how it didn't last as long as they had hoped. I believe that was the Kia that they were driving. And people were being very silly about that when that was purchased. A lot of silly things were said. So I don't know. You really cannot please the baby people at all, ever.
No.
And I'd love to hear everybody chime in. What type of vehicle would have been suitable for the Prime Minister, for the service of the Prime Minister of the Bahamas? You text us, call in, and would be comfortable with the Prime Minister traveling in. Let's go back to these calls, though. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi. Good morning. You're on the air.
Car costs too much money.
Okay, we can barely hear you. All right. I think they said the car costs too much money. Anyway, let's take this one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning to both of you.
Hi.
Good morning.
Boy, times have really changed. It's a level of fear. I remember this is a personal story. I'm not going to call any names. But I remember when a prime minister won an election, and he presented himself at the gate at Lyford Key inside a little small yellow Morris Marina. He had to say his name, and he had to see where he was going. But I know he was going to his bosses, and that's just the way things work.
Is what now?
I don't think you'd be driving a Morris Marina. I don't expect for our prime minister to be driving a Morris Marina. But $300,000.
Plenty of people born after 1976 don't know what you're talking about. But that is an old British car, a little British car. But you said he was going to his what? He was going to see his what?
I'm assuming if the day after you won, and the first place you got to go in a disguised form, thank your bosses and get your instructions.
Now, you see, you are really a troublemaker.
I didn't call anybody's name.
Oh, my Lord. But anyway, so you're saying he was driving that as his private vehicle to get around town when he was not doing official business. That's what you're suggesting.
Well, I know. See, I know what I saw, and most of the guards there know what they saw, and we all had a big talk about it. But I also know.
But that's different from the official vehicle, though.
Yes, of course. But I'm just saying the fear. It's what you are afraid of. In this case, you may need a $500,000 armored vehicle to drive the prime minister around in downtown. I don't know where this level of fear is coming from, but I do know something else. That whenever you probably get a chance to spend government's money, I'll put it to you this way. I went to have some dental work done, and the dental work was going to cost me $1,500 if I paid cash. The moment the dentist realized I have insurance, it went to $3,000. So, people use things in so many different ways once they know where the source of money coming from is not theirs.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, what vehicle would you have been, what do you think would be a suitable vehicle?
I think the prime minister should have something that he's comfortable to suit him. You see, because if I were prime minister, I wouldn't have any afraid. Because I would make sure that my Secret Service passed the way before I even move. See, that's something you could consider. If you're going from home, town, I mean, you don't be the first one to make that run. You check up someone and see what's going on that run. So you need to prepare in advance for the run, eh?
Okay.
And then that will cost less. Getting out of the tub, you got issues, man. Pray for him.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Continue to call in 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259, toll free, 242-300-5720. Laverne, you don't remember these British cars? There used to be a lot of these when I was a little kid, and they finally disintegrated. But there were Morrises and Austins, and...
I do not remember.
No, yeah.
I was completely lost. I was just typing in Google, what kind of car was that? I do not remember.
A weird little compact.
Know. Pardon me?
It was a weird little compact car. But
you have an excellent memory, Dwight, because I do not remember that vehicle, and I know I'm older than you are.
Yeah, well, I'm a car nut.
I don't know why you remember that, but anyway.
I'm also a car nut, so that. But I do remember a lot of British cars being around here back in the day. And there were a lot of real minis, the little original minis. There were quite a few of those when I was still a little kid. Have you ever been in a real mini? The original ones? Shocking use of space.
The only car that I've been in when I was really young was my mom had a Pinto.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
She had a Pinto. I think it was red or orange. I can't remember.
And you all
But
survived.
and we survived. That was her car,
Oh, boy.
and
That's
that lasted until it didn't last anymore.
That's beautiful.
And then she went from that to a car that took up like most of the road.
Well, quite a contrast.
Yeah.
She's doing a prime minister type move. Good morning.
Certainly. It was it was an Oldsmobile.
Oh,
It was
man.
an Oldsmobile, and then after the Oldsmobile, it was an LTD.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. But we should all be happy. This is an electric vehicle. That is sending a very powerful
That
message.
was very interesting, and so perhaps that too. Maybe I don't know, Dwight.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning, dear guest.
Good morning.
We can hear you.
Yes, I was trying to call for a long time now. I'm here in the U.S. and I always wanted to call in to chime in, but I just wanted to put it. I think that as the Prime Minister, that he should be well protected, and the cost of the vehicles should not be a factor as long as he's protected. And it's not just the person, but it's the office that we have to protect. And that's how I feel about the situation. Thanks for letting me chime in.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. By the way, in the U.S., and I believe this was locally purchased. I can't know for sure. But anyway, in the U.S., this model, the i7, the BMW i7, starts at about $105,000.
Well, see, there you go.
So that's not including duty and shipping and all that stuff, and outfitting it for the security purposes. So not much more than the starting price, but a whole lot of
Like I
vehicles
said,
much less expensive.
Yeah, it's optics, it's the timing, it's all of those things. It's also the kind of the, I don't want to say bogus, but I guess I just did, story that came out along with it, or how this hack all came about. I think all of that is playing maybe a part in why people are having the kind of reaction that they're having.
Right.
So if it lasts like the previous one lasted, then we'd say, well, it's value, but we got value for the money spent. I mean, and
It sounds like that vehicle was in the shop more than it was on the road.
But listen, curiously, this new one, I believe Ms. Adderley said that it's estimated to last 10 years. I find that curious.
Now, as we've heard many times, the electric vehicles have fewer parts and don't need a lot of the maintenance that ICE cars need, the internal combustion engine cars. So it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. Okay.
It's possible.
Yeah, you would know.
I don't know what that means. But let's take this call and then we want to get to the text
You
messages.
don't know what it means, Dwight?
No.
Don't you have an electric
Why
vehicle?
we don't talk about these things. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning.
Well, you went there.
How are you guys this morning?
We're doing well.
Good morning.
Let's think about this scenario. We have the office of a prime minister, right? The prime minister's flying around the world, bringing investors here to the Bahamas to invest, right? Look at it this way. World leaders come here to the Bahamas. Do you want the world leaders, who is the guest of the prime minister in the country, to ride in something that is not protected? I mean, $190-something thousand is a drop in the bucket for a vehicle for a prime minister's office. Let's be realistic now. Look here in the Caribbean. Our prime minister is about the 5th highest paid prime minister, right? To compare with those countries which currency are less than the Bahamas. And they're driving $300,000 vehicle, and we're complaining about a vehicle that's less than $200,000. You have to be more realistic, man. It's more about the office of the prime minister. Each investors would feel, and world leaders would feel, to come here and to ride in a jitney bus with our prime minister, because that's exactly what some of the people are actually saying. They're not looking at the realistic gist of this whole entire thing. They're just looking at the cost of a vehicle, $192,000. If some of the behemoths will do their research in Google, and see the type of vehicles those prime ministers are riding in those countries with money and less here in their country than what we are here in the Bahamas, they will have a second thought of what they're saying. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I don't know if the other leaders ride along with the prime minister. I don't think that's how that works. But I hear you. I get the point you're making.
Yeah, we get the point.
Okay, I really want to get to these messages, but let's clear these lines to get some more of the calls in really quickly, and then the text messages. People are suggesting other vehicles, but a lot of these I see already. These are definitely gas-guzzling vehicles, and that is not the message that our prime minister wants to send, especially as he is an environment advocate. He cannot be driving around a big SUV, folks. That would be a terrible look. So think again. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Morning, Laverne.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Zima. Who got the keys to my Beamer? I listen, it's amazing, though. Bahamians, they'll justify anything, anywhere, anytime. First of all, I am 62. I've been in the Bahamas all my life. Sorry, I've never think we've had a problem with our prime ministers being under threat, not this nation. We got all kind of other things up in this nation, and Bahamians sit back, dead, relax, ain't checking like that. I think we know that by now. There's nothing wrong with a $200,000 or $300,000 Beamer or Mercedes, But you got to take in consideration the atmosphere, like LeBron say, of the country at that time. Luxury cars don't just come in Beamers. You can get a luxury Volkswagen. You understand me? If you telling me to perform austerity measures, BECI, water bill high, food high in the food store, we broke. We can't do this, we can't do that. And you can turn around and buy a $500,000 vehicle on me when outside toilets still in your constituency, possibly. Come on, man. We got to look at this thing holistically, and we have to set examples. You understand? Ain't nothing wrong with the paper. But if you can tell me we broke, then act accordingly, man. Thanks for taking my call.
No one's ever told you that we're broke, right? But they're always encouraging prudent, cautious spending, but not that we're broke. They've never said that, and they won't say that. But yes, but again, they're buying something they hope will last them for a while.
And then too, because we tend not to look at the office as the office, we look at it as the person. So, we feel we're not even thinking, some of us, in terms of, well, how long will this vehicle last? How long will they be able to use it?
Yeah.
We're just saying, because we're just thinking, this person here purchased a vehicle.
Yeah. Folks are remembering. Folks are texting us saying, I do remember this exact conversation when that was bought during the Ingram administration, the very expensive Mercedes-Benz. This is deja vu. We keep doing this, folks, the same thing over and over, the same ridiculous. And we'll be doing this again in 15 years, I suspect, when they buy a $200,000 and some $1,000, whatever it is, flying something. Good morning.
A flying vehicle?
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne.
Hi.
Good morning.
Two very quick things I'd like to present right now. First and foremost, saying that this thing now has happened, the P.S. Davis should be reinstated into his position because he's the fall guy, apparently, in this matter.
See, now you're choosing this that nobody's talked about, and we don't know what's really happening behind. But so
it just seems as if he is the least out of this debacle, but yet he's getting the full brunt of what's going on here.
That's
my second point here, very quickly, so I could clear the line. I hope that the pundits who are justifying this matter, had it been the other administration that was in the House, would have the same vision or have the same sentiments that is expressed, because everything in this country is politicized. If the FNM had did it, these pundits who are justifying this matter would be all over the FNM. If the PLP does it like you see right now, there are people who are really concerned about what's going on. The plight in this country right now, the misery index in this country right now is extremely high. And yet, while we do understand that the head of the country should drive in something luxurious, something that should represent the office and so on and so forth, I just hope as Bahamians that we would change our mindset and understand that, okay, if we're talking about the office, let's talk about the office. But when the other administration was in, some of the things that they had done, they slammed them left, right, and center. But now today, things are being justified. I just hope that we continue with that mindset, regardless of who gets into our parliament and gets into the office of the Prime Minister. That's all I want to offer this morning. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thanks a lot. One more call. Good morning, caller, you're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Dwight.
Yes.
Good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
To comment on your subject matter of today, two things stand out to me that you said. You said that the Mercedes is now borrowed, right? That's what the report.
No. The Mercedes is unfixable, and they have borrowed their BMWs on loan to them at the moment until they get this one that they've purchased in.
Okay. Well, the question I have is like, who is really borrowed from? But that's minor. The other thing you said was that someone was charged. You speaking about what happened last year?
Someone was charged? What?
For making charges against the Prime Minister?
Oh, the threat.
Yeah, there was a death.
Remember, that was last year.
Okay. Well, anyway, let me get directly on that. Well, it was me at first that the office, I guess, targeted with the officers from homicide, and nothing came out of it with me. And the young man that eventually was charged, I think, was just following up, which was a school student, right?
I don't think he's a student. He's young, but he's a young guy. I mean, not in high school, but yeah.
Now, that whole threat, I wonder if that was just a farce, because coming after me, they found out having me for a day and releasing me was that my calls to that office had nothing to do with ever asking to speak with anybody in the office. My calls to that office was to speak to the director of investment, and I wonder if it was purposeful for them to try and target me, to try and stop me from calling, calling, because I'm still calling.
I'm going to stop here because I'm not sure why you bring this up in this conversation, but okay. In any event, as we said before, threats need to be taken seriously if there are. But yeah, that wasn't helpful at all. I don't understand. Anyway, let's get to the text messages. Boy. It's a lot this morning. Okay, why are we all running on about this car? He's going to be riding in this car regardless. This one says here, the PLP administration is running government like a private club. They have paid their Pied Pipers and to tell us what they want us to hear. I think that's what they're saying. Okay. This person says here, about the BMW, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Every time a previous government did something, there's an excuse for the present government. I dare say that the $200,000 is the cost before the upgrades. Well, hopefully we'll know. Hopefully we will know. This person says here, what I see in the whole vehicle gate episode is the fact that we definitely don't maintain anything. Why is it that both the Mercedes and the Lexus are in need of repairs at the same time? Well, the Mercedes is quite old. Quite old. So that's to be expected. Right. Anyway, lack of proper maintenance in keeping with the government's poor record on managing anything. Now, this is a fair argument, but not necessarily when it comes to vehicles, though. Right? Especially with the wear and tear on these islands. You could be driving a tank, and it's going to need to be in the shop a good part of the year. So let's be realistic now. When was the last time your car went 2 years without an issue? Yeah. The Prime Minister is surely doing a lot of spending and traveling. I wonder when we are going to put something on the big debt that our country... What? That our country owes. Put something on the... Okay, you mean like putting money towards it? Okay. To say that they were looking for a vehicle that would last and then chose an electric BMW is an oxymoron. The price is not an issue. The issue is more of the brand or model. Well, and that, boy, anyway. Hopefully, again, this is the thing that people need to look up. So I'll invite all of you to look up reliability. Look at Consumer Reports and some other companies and see who's the most reliable. And you'll notice some patterns, especially where cars are made, the country of origin. But I'm saying that hopefully, because it's an electric with fewer parts, that it might have a better track record than some other vehicles from certain brands. Let's put it like that. Fix the roads and maybe the cars will last longer. That is true. It's quite possible. 80% of our citizens are tightening our belts to the last notch, but the politicians are buying new belts to let out. Very interesting. Okay. This vehicle will be insured comprehensive with third party. Now you stop. Please stop. Please stop. Can you imagine if something happens to this vehicle? You know better than that. Third party. Really? The Prime Minister is doing to poor Bahamians. He needs... Okay. No. That is not a... Wow. I find their press release telling because a few days ago they said they transferred a PS for buying... No, they didn't say that. They didn't say that. That was what people have put out there. Instead of keeping the previous cars, why can't they just be auctioned off and the money be used towards the new one? Who would do that? Why would you buy that? Did you hear? They're all in the shop. You want what? To say that you're riding in an old car that used to be driven by people chauffeuring prime ministers around? Because you could put... Anyway. The Prime Minister's Mercedes was later outfitted with a siren and camera, so I do believe the $115,000 was to do this and add a suspension system to bypass potholes, add a flotation device when it rains, etc. The GOP's defending the extreme purchase, but if the F&M was in power, they would be shouting from the rooftop in protest. That's what's so sad about politics. All of our political leaders have many Bahamians for conks, and sadly, many are, because the car is already purchased, and yeah, okay. So again, folks are saying these are the options they would like to see or would have preferred to see. Someone says a Suburban, Chevy Suburban. Another one saying Suburban. Again, that is not the right look for a prime minister who keeps talking about climate change. Not the right look at all. Someone says a Cadillac CT6. Yeah. What's the big deal, Dwight? Our climate change prime minister wants to drive a no-gas electric car. Well, there aren't too many options that fit the bill. Not too many at the moment. More will likely come, but they need a car now. This, as we go to the break, this person says here, the issue isn't the brand new electric car for the Prime Minister. The real issue is, will they find license plates for it? There's still a whole lot of people riding around with no plates, eh? I'm sure they're going to use the same PM plate. They'll keep that and put that on. So they'll be fine. Yeah. All right, we're going to the break, folks. We'll be back after the news. This is Morning Blend, Guardian Radio 96.9.
Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Hey! Sim Simma, who got the keys to my bimmer? Who am I? The girls, them sugar. How can I make love to a fella in a rush? Pass me the keys to my truck. Who am I? The girls, them lock. And I remember. You ever buck a girl with like a bucket? Draw for your nigga and your nigga gas. Draw for your oxen like a cow you wanna. Draw for your pickaxe like a gun you wanna. It's like a riverside up on the bank and you take it. It's like a bicycle, so you hold it and dash it. So you wash it, so you crash it. She a tell you say you grab it. Girl, she a beg you wanna ball, take it, stop it. Batman plug in and me a move like a electric. It's like a basketball, she take time out to bomb it. We listen to me silent, we listen to me lyrics. I be in man, they and me a drop it. I said, Sim Simma, who got the keys to my bimmer? Who am I? The girls them sugar. How can I make love to a fella in a rush? Pass me the keys to my trucks. Who am I? The girls them lock. And I we make love to pressure. Anything she want, I will give it unto she. I can't believe the day my friend.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
/ all of you, RBC. Conditions apply.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
It's Easter time again, and it's time to stop by Paradise Fisheries, located at number 16 Harley Street, Mount Royal Avenue. We are now accepting those large orders for fish fries on Good Friday. So give us a call today at 325-3301 or stop by our stores between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Fridays and 9 a.m. on Saturdays. Paradise Fisheries, still your one-stop shop for all of those Easter desires.
Are you ready for the best of the best? Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group up for sound promotion, and Guardian Radio presents the best of the best Rake and Script Explosion Concert. Mark your calendars for May 11th as Super Club Breezes grounds ignite with Bahamian talent featuring KB, Gino D, Funky D, Veronica Bishop, The Brylanders, Avi, Elon Moxie, and Shine 242.
Right now, I feel like whining.
Join the Falcons, Bill Cake, Mama D, Nishi LS, Pat Rami, CBS, and Shad Colley and the VIPs for an electrifying night of music and culture. Tickets are flying, so grab yours now. Available online at BahamasEtickets.com or swing by the Beauty Shack on Soldier Road and Carmichael Road. This is the event of the year. The best of the best Rake and Scrape Explosion at Breezes Resorts. Gates open at 6 p.m. Don't miss out on the Bahamian magic.
RBC debit card holders, collecting a new RBC Visa debit chip card just got easier with Saturday opening hours. Visit our Cable Beach, Carmichael Road, Palmdale, and Prince Charles branches March 16th and March 23rd between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. with one form of valid government-issued ID. Start enjoying greater security and contactless features with your new RBC Visa debit chip card now. RBC.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to?
Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
The Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4. You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
We need to talk. And it's about something pretty important, your NIB contributions. For nearly 50 years, NIB contributions from hardworking Bahamians have supported families and individuals alike. But Bahamian families have changed. Families are having fewer children. This means less workers are entering the workforce and making contributions. And with Bahamian retirees living longer, pension payments have also increased. As a result, payouts have gone up, continuously exceeding contributions coming in, resulting in a deficit. That's why, starting on July 1st, 2024, both employers and employees will have to pay a little extra to sustain this national lifeline. The July 1st rate increase is our way of ensuring that NIB benefits are available for generations to come. We all have a role to play, and it starts with investing in tomorrow today with NIB.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Here's a sure-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. You have to get that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil, shrimp,
glaze.
stew, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Ready to score big? Alive is bringing you March Madness! From incredible deals on Ring devices to amazing deals on iPhones, Nokia, TCL, and more. Alive has everything you need to stay connected and save big. And that's not all. Enjoy free data, prepaid plan bundles, exclusive event tickets, and more. Deals end March 31st. Visit BeAlive.com or follow us on our social media at We Are Alive to stay in the know. Score big with Alive this March season. Don't miss out.
This Easter, from March 29th to April 3rd, witness history in the making at the Betty Kelling-Kenning Aquatic Center. Cheer on Team Bahamas as we dive into history, swimming our way towards a 6th straight victory at the Carifta Aquatics. Feel the thrill of competition as 500 athletes from 24 countries from across the Caribbean converge in the Bahamas for the championship title. Immerse yourself in the greatest youth athletic spectacle being held in the Bahamas this year. Watch live as champions are realized. The Carifta Aquatics isn't just a competition. It's a showcase of the future of swimming right in the heart of Nassau. Mark your calendars. This Easter, March 29th to April 3rd, the Carifta Aquatics at the Betty Kelling-Kenning Aquatic Center. See ticket information and full schedule at cariftaaquatics.com. See you at the poolside.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Stand! Oh yeah! Stand! Stand! Let's go! Stand! You do the crime, you must do the time. Stand! KB and Sting say so. Stand! Oh yeah! Stand! Let's go! Crime doesn't pay, boy. Crime doesn't pay. Don't throw your life away, boy. Crime doesn't pay. Being bad was good, boy. Then why they lock away? Don't mind what your friends say, boy.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning we are talking about the new anti-crime initiative launched by the FNM this week. In studio we've got FNM Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright with us. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Brother Strachan, and good morning, Bahamas. Great to be here.
Okay, so we're going to get to the anti-crime initiative in just a second. I just want to ask you really quickly about what happened in the House yesterday.
Sure.
The clash between the government MPs and this issue with not having the time to debate. Let's talk about that. What's your view on what's happening here?
Well, before each debate, there's an agreed position relative to speakers and the allotted time.
Mm-hmm.
In each debate, obviously, as the Bahamian people will observe, not every member of parliament decides to speak. However, yesterday, it was conveyed and communicated to the government that every member present was going to speak yesterday and participate in the debate.
Mm-hmm.
The government opted to close the debate, which from a parliamentary standpoint, they can do, so let me say that. However, in the spirit of our democracy and in the spirit of our commitment to the Bahamian people, we felt that they did a disservice to the Bahamian people by ending the debate, particularly because the Bahamian people are dealing and grappling with a number of issues, serious issues affecting their lives, in terms of taxes, in terms of crime, in terms of the lack of understanding of some major policy issues from NIB to some of the things affecting businesses in the country. And so that is what Parliament is about. Yeah. The Bahamian people, they pay us to be there to deal with their issues. And so we feel it was a disservice to the Bahamian people. And at the end of the day, Brother Strachan, as the Member of Parliament for St. Barnabas, in my case, I don't represent myself as a people in the constituency of St. Barnabas, and I am their voice. And so yesterday, in our view, and we continue to contend this, was the government's objective to silence the voices of the Bahamian people, particularly in the constituencies that we represent.
Mm-hmm. So, is there a plan on what happens now moving forward? You heard the speaker say some things about when you heard that it was going to be a short debate that someone should have spoken up. I mean, I've never heard anything like that before. But is this going to change how you approach debates going forward?
Well, we are going to continue to push. Our job is to continue to push and agitate for the Bahamian people. This is not about us. This is about serving the Bahamian people, and we will continue to agitate in what's best for the interests of the Bahamian people. And so, as we said yesterday on the floor of the House, and immediately after to the media, that we will not sit down and shut up, that we will stand up and we will speak up for the Bahamian people who deserve to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, let's get into it. The Anti-Crime Initiative. Tell us about how this came about. I'm sure it's in response to the high violent crimes we're seeing in the country, but why did you feel it was important to do this? And you're directing the director of this initiative, right?
Yes. Well, first let me say, Brother Strachan, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is the greatest country in the world. That's what I believe, like so many other Bahamians. I believe the Bahamian people are some of the most talented and blessed people and innovative people in the world. That being said, many of the challenges that we face as a country, I believe that we have the answers to it right here in our country. Mm-hmm. What we believe is that what is the commitment and the will to use our human resources and use our ability as a people to deal with these issues. We have the ability to determine the outcomes of many of the challenges that we face. Mm-hmm. Crime is an issue that has continued to plague the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And frankly, it has transcended political parties. So let's say that up front. Crime is not a political issue. For anybody to say that somebody being murdered is because the government is responsible for someone being murdered, would be foolish. What we have said is that a government's responsibility is to respond to those things, just like any other concern in the country. So we've asked the government to show leadership, just as it is expected of any issue concerning the Bahamian people. In the Free National Movement, we believe that this is now past the time of talking to a problem, talking at a problem. Mm-hmm. We believe that active citizenship is important to the development of our country and addressing the major issues in our country, particularly crime. This is not just about the 30-plus murders, unfortunately, now in 2024, or the 110 murders in 2023, or the second largest murder rate in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in 2022 at 128 murders. This is about not just the moment now in lifetime, but how do we ensure that that 8-year-old child in primary school, girl or boy, is not embracing or cultivating a criminal mindset or going into habits that would lead them to a criminal life. As Mama always say, how do we take preventative measures to ensure that 20, 30, 40 years from now, we're not focused on building bigger prisons? Because at this rate, we will be building a bigger prison every 30, 40 years if we do not prevent persons from getting into a life of crime. Mm-hmm. What we've decided to do in the Free National Movement is to involve all of our parts to commit our resources and our organization to crime initiatives in 39 constituencies throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, from Grand Bahama to Inagua. Engaged in initiatives, anti-bullying initiatives, neighborhood watch initiatives, partnering with stakeholders on every island, faith-based organizations, churches, civic organizations, members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, other community-minded organizations and individuals. So each of our constituency association yesterday started to engage in one particular initiative, and it can range anywhere from a public service announcement, again to neighborhood watch programs, gun violence prevention initiatives, victim support services, community outreach, an awareness campaign, crisis intervention teams, youth mentorship programs. So we are running the gamut of initiatives throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And what we are saying is that we must lead from where we stand, because this issue of crime is just not a one-person problem. We are all affected by it from a political standpoint. People from all parties are affected by the issues of crime in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So how can we collectively come together as an organization and commit ourselves to making a difference in our local communities, in every settlement in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? And so this is our pledge and our organizational commitment to the Bahamian people as it relates to this issue. It runs parallel with what we've always said relative to this, in terms of the government being in dialogue with the government about being partners. We would have sent some 40-plus recommendations to the government in 2022, in March of 2022. And so we are just fully committed from an organizational standpoint, a party standpoint, and without a doubt, from a parliamentary standpoint, we are committed to being a part of the solution.
All right, so it's not necessarily something new, but partnering with existing programs, essentially?
Well, it's both new initiatives, and initiatives that would be a subset or offset of what currently may exist in particular communities. We're just talking about a strategic focus, a very aggressive focus, using all of the parts of the Free National Movement to make sure that this is sustained and strategic.
All right, so give us some examples. Let's say in your constituency, St. Barnabas, what's happening there, or what's going to happen there?
Well, in St. Barnabas in particular, we are going to be focusing on our mentorship programs, and not just mentorship for young boys, but mentorship for girls as well. Again, we believe, as I would have mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we believe that it's so important to engage the young people of our society, the young people, to bend young, to get a sense of purpose into our young people, to get a sense of patriotism, to get a sense of love of your community, to understand that it starts right through your corner. It starts right in your community, a sense of, I need to do what I can do to ensure that my community is a positive one in terms of its surroundings and the type of environment we want our neighbors to live in, and our commitment to the overall development and benefit of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
All right, so we talk about this all the time on this show and every show on talk radio, the crime issues, and we keep hearing the same things a lot, that the country in general is not sweating the small stuff. We are letting these little things, these violations, traffic violations, whatever, just, oh well, we got to focus on the big stuff. But that is creating an environment where people feel they can get away with anything. What's your view on that? And do you agree that if we were to start cracking down on people running red lights and parking wherever they want, that we might begin to see some changes in the attitudes of our people?
I believe so. I say this as a Bahamian. I don't say this as a politician or as a national leader. I say this as a Bahamian, that the changes that we want in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the changes that can come, it starts with each and every one of us. And that is the fundamental reality. What can each of us do to change our country, to embrace the active citizenship that's needed, the level of pride and patriotism that's needed? Don't get me wrong. The need to support, for example, our international athletes, whether nationally or internationally, or when we support our Junkanoo groups or cultural events, those are important to cultivating a strong sense of national pride. But it starts even more fundamental than that. What happens when your neighbor is littering through your corner? What happens when you are on the street and somebody is doing something that we know does not bode well for the development and the way of life in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? We have to hold ourselves accountable, And that's what great countries do. The people hold themselves accountable. And that's what we need to do more of. All of us need to do more of that.
The other thing that people say almost daily is that we need capital punishment. Will be the only thing that will send people the message that we are very serious about violent crime, and that is desperately needed. What's your view on that?
Well, obviously there are two schools of thought out there, or multiple schools of thought on capital punishment. There are those who believe that it will not act as a deterrent. There are those that believe that it's not necessarily about there being a deterrent, but retribution, that if you take a life, that your life should be taken. I personally believe that capital punishment is on the books, and that it should be carried out until the Bahamian people decide that they don't want it anymore. And so I believe that more than anything, though, the prevention of
we hear every politician in 20 years. Everybody says that.
What about
that it's on the books and
and so we from a legislative standpoint, we have to summon the fortitude to ensure that whatever changes need to happen for us to, if we decide that we are fully committed to ensuring that capital punishment happens in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we need to ensure that it happens. Obviously, there are persons who have legal recourse and they have to go through these different appeals and so forth, and we accept that. But there has to be a resolve on all issues relating to how do we impact crime in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I just wish to emphasize, notwithstanding your question about capital punishment, the prevention of crime, or the prevention of allowing the environment of criminal activity to be cultivated in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, is something we should focus on, because again, there will be not enough prisons that we can build if we do not deal with this issue now.
Yeah. Here's a text coming in. Someone says the changes need to start from the top to the bottom, and that I guess is suggesting that we don't see enough punishment for officials when something is wrong. What do you say to that?
Well, listen, I believe that I agree with the person who texts that nobody should be free from punishment that is deserved, and so I agree with that. How can you not agree with that? Mm-hmm. And so whether it's the small things or the big things, or persons who are, I guess you would say, in a certain category, it doesn't matter. Whatever we can do to create an even stronger society and to eliminate lawlessness in any regard is important to the further development of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm. All right. So with the initiative, do you need to be an F&M to take part in this?
No, I mean, you live in a community. I mean, obviously, it's going to be sourced and directed by the associations, the F&M associations in respective constituencies. But obviously, in constituencies are persons from all political parties. At the end of the day, this is not about just utilizing members of the Free National Movement. That would make no sense. Mm-hmm. We are committed to building our communities and to doing our best to limit and eradicating the impact of crime in our communities. So this is about us coming together as Bahamians, yes, directed through our associations, but this is about the Bahamian people and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm. So how do you take part? How does one, if you're hearing this, you want to be involved, what do you need to do?
Well, I mean, you have two options. I mean, you can always get in contact with the headquarters of the Free National Movement on Mackey Street, or, of course, you can get in contact with the local Free National Movement Constituency Association in your constituency. The good thing about living in a small country is most Bahamians in every constituency knows how to get in contact with the associations headquarters, if you will, of political parties in all constituencies. So either locally in your constituency, or you can reach out to the Free National Movement, Hackney Street, and they will be able to put you in contact with the respective individuals and respective constituency associations.
Do you have any timelines or goalposts that you're looking at, and so you'll say, okay, we've achieved something, this is a success now? What are you looking at as markers?
Well, actually, every quarter we intend to focus on a particular initiative. We've started off with crime. We are going to make the public aware as we transition from one initiative to the next. But this is sustained. This is constant. As we all know, the problem of crime is multifaceted and multi-layered. And not only that, it's multifaceted and multi-layered. So our approach needs to be multifaceted and multi-layered. But obviously, these issues have not just happened overnight. So they're not going to go away overnight. And that's the realness of what we are dealing with. So this needs to be sustained, and we need a collective effort on behalf of everybody to make sure that it's sustained, and we are tackling this in a very aggressive and agitated way.
Yeah. You said some key words there, collective effort, but this texter, this texter says, same old politician talk, nothing specific, no real solutions, only turning the responsibility on the citizenry. But I don't know if that's fair, but we know that everybody has a role to play in this. But how do you respond to text like that?
No, and I understand. Listen, I respect the person's opinion. There's a level of frustration and lack of belief, and I accept that. What we are emphasizing, though, that we're not putting this on the citizens. We are saying that this is a collective effort. This is a joint effort, that the Free National specific initiatives in constituencies throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and Bahamians in those constituencies will have the ability. The truth is that government has its role to play. Political parties have the role to play. But the real change that we can bring in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is when both political parties and the political directorate joins with the Bahamian people who we serve, the changes that can be made at a community level. So this is about a joint effort. It's not about dismissing any responsibility that we have. We have a responsibility from a parliamentary standpoint to ensure certain things. The government has a responsibility from a governing standpoint because they have the reins of government. But the citizens themselves, we all citizens, have an obligation as well. So the operative word is collective effort.
Yeah. All right. Well, Shandon Cartwright, thank you so much
for
being with us this morning. And hopefully we'll have you back to give us an update on how things are going. But thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Bahamas.
All right. We're going to take a break for news and be back with business. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Let's go! You do the crime, you must do the time. KB and Sting say so. Let's go! Crime doesn't pay, boy. Crime doesn't pay. Don't throw your life away, boy. Crime doesn't pay. If being bad was good, boy, then why they lock away? Don't mind what your friends say, boy. Crime doesn't pay.
Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill, tomatoes, onion, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Get ready for an unforgettable weekend at Agri Expo 2024. It all goes down on April 12th and 13th at Gladstone Road Farmers Market. Bring the whole family for a farmtastic experience. Meet local farmers, artisans, and savor delicious food. From competitions to forums and activities for the kids. There's something for everyone. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just curious about where your food comes from, there's something for everyone at the Agri Expo. It's something you don't want to miss. See you there.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, March 21st, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And Laverne's a lot to talk about in business today. We've got news about bus fares and taxi fares. And it's some interesting stuff.
Have they finally been increased?
Well, now, you see, when you say it like that, it sounds like that's a good thing, right? But is that a good thing at all? Who's this good for?
I am just asking for an update. I know that there was a swell in terms of bus fares, so I'm just asking if that's happened.
Well, here's what's going on. So with the taxi fares, the union president agrees with a 10% fare increase for taxi drivers. But with bus fare increase not enough, says Bus Drivers Union President. So we got two different stories here. Let's begin with the taxi drivers. Our Yuri Kemp writing about it today. Bahamas Taxi Cab Union President Wesley Ferguson says he agrees with a 10% fare increase for taxi drivers, arguing that it will be mainly levied on the tourists and won't come from the public treasury. Okay, sure. Well, of course.
So I'm sorry.
I don't understand.
What?
Well,
I don't understand that.
Maybe because locals don't get to use the taxis? I don't understand.
Because maybe taxi drivers don't like to pick up locals.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
So Ferguson told Guardian Business that the union had initially lobbied for a 20% fare increase, but decided to compromise to move past the stalemate with the Ministry of Transport and Energy. He said, quote, "It certainly is a good feeling to get something accomplished in these hard economical times for taxi drivers. This increase is not only Nassau-centric, but is basically throughout the Bahamas, wherever they operate. This is a big deal for taxi drivers. I'm sure, I'm trying to figure out if that is Ferguson or Colby Davis who's saying that. But this is, I tell you, one of the few places in the world where people talk like this. But anyway, JoBeth Colby Davis, Minister of Transport and Energy, said in Parliament yesterday, quote, the last increase in taxi fares occurred in 2017, more than 6 years ago. The time has long been past for fares to be increased. Therefore, I am pleased to share with this honorable House that the increase in taxi fares for New Providence has been gazetted in my process of completing the rate adjustment for taxi fares for our family islands. Now, Ferguson said, quote, honestly, this increase is only 10%, but it's more than what we had. We asked for more, but we agreed with 10% because you have to understand that these are economical times, even for the tourism industry. What is unique about it is it does not come out of the public purse, and it does not adversely affect the general public. This comes directly out of the tourist pockets.
Right, because they don't pick up Bahamians. Oh, no?
Ah, boy, Ferguson added.
I'm reading too much into it.
No,
Sorry.
I mean, you're absolutely right. This is why. I mean, like, I think even visitors don't like to be fleeced. But anyway, Ferguson added, quote, you have to put aside your differences and work in tandem with each other to achieve your goals for the people in your industry. The people in the industry, but not the customers. Quote, you have a civic responsibility to do business and to basically achieve the goals that you promised the people that you represent that you will achieve. So we promise them that we will get them to the places that were so vitally needed in the industry, and we promise that we will get them there. And in doing so, this basically is a good step in the right direction for both of us. Okay. All right. So that's that. That's with the taxis. And all of these stories are going to come together in a way that I hope Amy people will see that we've got serious issues here. And it's so convenient that the story is right under the gas tracker today. $5.60, $5.75, $5.61. Those are the prices we're seeing at the three big gas stations here in New Providence. Bus fare story. So, Yuri Kemp again writing about it. JoBeth Colby Davis, Minister of Transport and Energy, said in Parliament yesterday that in an effort to enhance the busing sector, her ministry will be hosting a town hall meeting for the bus franchise holders, the public, and public bus drivers in early April. She said the meeting will be to discuss the upcoming bus fare increase, as well as other plans to enhance the sector. She noted that particularly there is a need for better and additional bus routes and the gazetting of bus stops. Now, President of the Bahamas Unified Bus Drivers Union, Rudolph Taylor, telling Guardian Business that the 25-cent increase presented to the busing industry is not enough.
How much is it now?
We're going to get into that in a bit here. But 25-cent increase presented is not enough, adding that when the rate was agreed to, things were much different. He said, quote, we have been waiting for 16 years for a 25-cent increase, and it is outdated now. Oh, boy. Last year, bus drivers took it upon themselves to raise the bus fare by 25 cents across the board without government or franchise owner approval. They said it was done after a meeting with Colby Davis. Remember this? A lot of people were complaining about that, where they were told that the government would be willing to go up on bus fares by 25 cents for adult passengers. Now, Taylor said, quote, we agreed on that 25 cents a year and a half ago, and things have increased from since then to now. A gallon of water is $2, and a 20-ounce bottle of soda is $1.75 in some places. We are paying high insurance, maintenance, fuel, and the cost of oil has gone through the roof. It's not that we agreed to the 25 cents. It's what Colby Davis told us the cabinet had agreed upon. Now, president of the United Public Transportation Company, Harrison Moxey, said he was advised that the town hall meeting is being planned for April 4th. He said, quote, we're going for the 25-cent increase across the board, so it'll now be $1.50 with a 25-cent increase, Laverne. $1.50 for adults, $1 for seniors, and 75 cents for children. We don't expect any pushback from the meeting on April 4th once we know that the 25-cent increase will be across the board. The public expected it. Actually, some of them have been giving us the additional 25 cents without us asking for it. My goodness. They just give it to you. So that's where we're at with it right now. We will be grateful for it, and it's something we have been looking forward to for a long while. Okay. Interesting stuff there. And still no mention of a unified bus system, so I guess that dream has gone the way of the dodo. But let's talk about it, folks. We know we have these conversations often on this show about the taxi system here, how it is not functioning the way it should, that it is only, for the most part, catering to tourists, that it's so expensive that the average Bahamian could never even think about getting a taxi from one part of the island to the other. It would be ridiculous. And that has forced a whole lot of people into the used car market and fill the streets with vehicles that people would not necessarily have if they were in other modern cities around the world where they could just use public transportation for most of their needs. And we see this as gas prices continue to rise in this country. We're really making life very expensive for our people. And we know that there are real consequences for the cars and aren't doing the other things that are required for car ownership, including having insurance and licensing the vehicles, right? So we are creating criminals out of this expensive market that we have here. And yet bus fares and, well, the bus fare thing maybe is a little bit different, but the taxi fare going up is really unbelievable. And I know, yes, the taxi drivers are hurting, but again, your model is ridiculous. You're parked outside a hotel or downtown just waiting for a tourist to get to say something when their Bahamians are trying to get places all the time and might not be able to catch a bus because they have maybe groceries or stuff, but were they able to afford a taxi the way taxis work in other parts of the world, where they are a bit more than a bus, but not like catching a limo, you could do this. You could do this. You'd have more fares in a day and probably would be able to make as much with the multiple fares as you do with this one fare, this gold mine fare that you make one day and you pay for your whole half your mortgage with that one. That's just me. Let's talk about it, though. What are your views on this? We like it like this. This is the way it's supposed to be. Everybody in a little note march, whatever, up and down and about in a disposable vehicle that's uninsured and unlicensed. And when you crash it, just leave it there. Note march.
Did you say? What kind of a vehicle? A disposable vehicle?
Oh, you've never heard it referred to like that before? Clearly they are. Once you match them up, you get another one. This is how many people are functioning around here. Is this the place we want? Let's talk about it.
Do taxis still have meters?
No, the meter cab system seems to be defunct.
So
these are always set fares.
Who determines
the government.
what the fare will be from the airport to wherever you live?
The government.
How do we know? The government. So they have a map and they say, if for some reason you could get a taxi, let's say from the airport to where you live, the government determines what that fare would be.
That doesn't even sound like sense, right?
Yeah. That's why I said it like that.
That's how it is. And the taxi drivers will tell you, well, that's the rate the ministry set.
So you just get to, because, okay, so that's, why? Why
indeed?
That?
What is this about? What is this really about? And again, this is all creating a system that no one can afford.
Some sort of a metering system?
There was a company that did that, and that company has apparently gone out of business. We talk about it all the time.
That should be a standard thing, not just a company doing a thing.
That's a real city. That's how we're not that, Laverne. No, that's not how it works.
You shouldn't just be able to randomly grab a price out of the air.
Do you have meter cabs in Freeport, Laverne Gardner?
Boy, listen, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't think you do.
I don't even know if we have meter cabs anymore. We used to have cab companies. I don't even know if they exist anymore.
No. Everyone's gone to this beautiful, gigantic fixed rate system. and you take it or leave it. You want to go across the street, $35. That's how it is. Let's hear from the people this affects. Let's get you in here. What do you make of all these increases? I think you can make a case for the bus fare increase. It would have been nice if you could have a transfer system where you could get right, so that I don't have to. If I buy maybe 175, and that would allow me to transfer from one bus to the other, as it works in almost everywhere else in the world. But just for that, and that is something we clearly can't get. But let's talk about it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's hear from you on this. Very, 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 very odd place.
$1.50, and again, speaking as someone who has not caught a bus in many, many years, but I don't think $1.50 for adults, $1 for seniors, and 75 cents for children is exorbitant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can make a case for that one, but the taxi fare increase, I still don't understand.
I don't understand that system, so there you go.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear what this caller has to say. And again, you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, you with me, Dwight?
Yes. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Dwight and Laverne. How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Anton, good morning.
What's going on?
It's always nice to hear your voice. That's why I say it like that.
Yeah, I hear you all raising some hell this morning. Anyway, I'm not glad to get in that. Dwight, I want to mention a traffic matter. I know that you're discussing, transportation. And so it's still in line. But it's a traffic matter that I observed on a couple of occasions that I'd like to highlight, if I can, regarding, emergency vehicles and driving on the roadways, along with everyday drivers on the road. Can I go ahead, Dwight?
Really quickly, we don't want to stray too far from this.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I happen to be in the area of Blue Hill Road several days ago, and there was the police, several police vehicles, 2 or 3 of them, and they seemed to be escorting another vehicle. Now, if you're aware of Blue Hill Road, well, you would know that it's extremely small, the passageway, right? And it is made even smaller because of the huge sidewalks on either side of the road. You're aware of what I'm talking about, Dwight?
Okay.
Right. And so there really isn't anywhere to pull off of the road, and the sidewalk is so high. And there were like 3 police vehicles escorting this vehicle at high speed. And they were blowing to move on the side of the road. And I'm trying to figure out now, where do they expect for people to go? Except you drive up in someone's business or whatever the case may be. And as I was trying to pull on the side of the road, a scenario occurred that I saw happen on 2 or 3 other occasions in the past month and a half, where the vehicle in the front stopped immediately, right? Which means if you're right underneath them, you have nowhere to pull because you can't move because you're almost bumper to bumper behind them. And then you have the emergency vehicles blowing and speeding. And it's almost as though they will run right into you or run right over you. And so I'm putting it on the airwaves to make a plea to the traffic persons on the police force or police emergency vehicles to please expect that there are circumstances where a person will not be able to immediately pull on the side of the road, and try and give some consideration to that. Thank you for the opportunity, Dwight. God bless.
Thanks a lot. Well, you just have to move when you can. I mean, that's just how it is. Unfortunately, the streets are poorly designed, and that'll be a challenge always. This text, back to what we're talking about. Taxi drivers discriminate against Bahamians. It's not even an organized business. I wonder what they will do when tourists stop coming. Why would you say that? That's not, anyway. My money is just as good as the tourist. My opinion, taxi drivers, oh boy, okay. Not nice things are saying about taxi drivers. I hope one day they will wake up. I hope one day a ride-share system is formed. Come on, man, it's 2024. And we know the taxi unions, and they've worked hard to eliminate and defeat anybody who tried to start a ride-share program here, and many taxi drivers. And that's crazy stuff there. But we're working hard to make things expensive for people in this country.
Why would you try to work hard to stop a rideshare system?
Why indeed?
If there is a part of your community that you are not really focused or catering, catering to.
You know why? Because you can't tell the tourists they can't use it. So, and the tourists were probably going to want to use it too, because that's where they come from. That's what you do. So that's why. That's why.
Well, are you saying that I would have difficulty if I wanted to open a rideshare company and I'm saying I'm catering to Bahamians? I'm not going to be at the airport. I'm not going to be at the hotel.
There'll be a tourist at an Airbnb on Blue Hill Road who will call you.
Well, that's fair game because they staying at Blue Hill Road and an Airbnb.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what this caller has to say. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne again.
Hi.
Good morning.
Dwight, we must face it. We're just running an unregulated petty shop or 30 days. This country. That's what it seems like. We need to clean up the entire system across the board. You understand? Because, see, with those taxis, you have a lot of folks who drive in those taxis who ain't nowhere. If they get any license or any properties, so a lot of unscrupulous people could be dealing with those taxis. You understand? They need to do what Laverne said. They need to go back to a national metering system.
Well,
you understand?
We never had that. We had a company. We never had it wasn't a national thing. But yes, that desperately is needed.
Yes,
but
need
apparently,
a metering system.
The last time we did a show on this, stopping anybody from forming one. So that's a great opportunity for Bahamian.
Right, with the government involvement in, it is mandatory that if you drive a taxi, you need a taxi meter. And then the government can regulate the metering system that what you can charge, just like with the bus now, what you can charge per mile. That'll solve that whole problem and these unscrupulous people. You understand now? We know why the taxi system is such a chaos because of the tour operators. They trying to squash everything with friends, family, and lovers. That's another problem. You understand? But I don't want to get too deep into that because a lot of these problems can easily be fixed. And Anton calling the radio show for help with getting information out to the police. Well, tell Anton for me, while he listening, some of us are not guilty. We are FNMC-wise and other stuff. So tell him what he need to do is call his boy, Brave Davis. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. Call back, callers. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. This is shocking. This text here says bus fare in Exuma is $5 each ride. What now? Huh? Well, that sounds... I was gonna say it sounds like a taxi, but no, it'd probably be $500. But whoa, that's crazy. Let's see what this caller has to say. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How's it going?
Not too bad. Chats and Gray, Safe Ride 242 Transportation.
Yes.
I hear you. Oh boy, I these conversations when I've had the opportunity to appear on your show. To be fair, Dwight, I don't think that it's unreasonable. The 10% increase. I don't generally run taxi plates myself, but maybe that's something that we should look at. Big picture. The cost of living goes up here quite frequently, Dwight, and that's understandable. But the drivers don't have the opportunity to go to the service station and say, well, because you're going to go ahead and service 1,500 cars today, you should give me $1 off at the pump. That's not realistic. It isn't. And there's costs that are attached to the fellas operating their businesses, to be fair. I think, though, if the regulatory authority was serious about it, and it's not uncommon, we have local clients that are surprised when we take their call and actually show up. That shouldn't be the case in the industry, Dwight.
Wow.
It shouldn't, because you're a Bahamian, and that's the expectation. And you hear it everywhere. Well, taxi drivers don't pick up Bahamians. That's not so. But the consumers have a responsibility as well, because guess what? Right, we'll go online and purchase items on some of these major platforms. We don't know what we're going to get after we pay the government duty and open a box. Utilize that same diligence. Go on Google. There are many local transportation providers that do service Bahamians and get quality service. Is it what it should be? No. I have to be fair in that. But do your due diligence. There's a risk also with, you think about it, Dwight, somebody requests a car 5 o'clock in the morning, they have a flight. You call to reconfirm the night before, show up on duty, because it happens, show up to the residence, let the people know that, and then my cousin came and took me. But if you have a system to where you say, after somebody reached out to you because consumers say these guys are trustworthy, they're reliable, most Bahamians don't want to pay in advance for that ride, but they'll pay for so many other things in advance as well. My point in using that illustration, Dwight, is collectively we could come to some type of common ground, service providers and consumers, and make our public transportation what it needs to be. But there's going to have to be some give. And there are opportunities to do that. So it's not just one way, the drivers are that and the next thing, or that Bahamians want lower rates, we want this, that, our local, our domestic market wants this, that, and some kind of consideration and exception. That does not exist. Because you're a Bahamian has nothing to do with the cost of doing business in this town. There are some requirements. And so to be fair, if the regulatory authority, like I started saying, were serious, there is a solution to hold the drivers accountable, make it an environment where Bahamians as well as visitors get access to quality service, but our domestic market also meets us somewhere in the middle. That's not unreasonable.
Let me ask you, we've had you on the show before to talk about this, but let's revisit this. So again, the scenario I painted before that you see in many big cities where cabs are running around and people are catching cabs. Would that not work here? If we had lower fares and you caught, and a taxi driver would pick up multiple fares in a day, what are the drawbacks to a system like that? But I can think of all the pros, all the wonderful things about it. But let's talk about that.
Dwight, I think it's just uncharted territory, to be totally honest with you, because here's why. That's easier to say, right? So if I did a taxi from the airport at 5, my flight lands at 5, I clear customs 45 minutes later, come in from the U.S., right? The time it takes for me to get from Lemon Filling International to, say, I don't know, San Souci as an example. There's traffic considerations there. They're all, you can't just make a blanket assumption, but a rate is a rate. But there has to be some considerations in that as well, because while you're doing stop and go, there's fuel being burned. There's time being lost. And obviously, as a service provider, you want to maximize on your opportunity to make money, right? But what you're asking now in terms of if it's the quantity of work that comes about in servicing the domestic market, that's something that we need to look at, get some empirical data, and formulate a system to where it is both beneficial to our clients, our local clients, as well as to the business person.
Okay, see, now this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Why aren't we seeing meter cabs here? What is this fixed rate thing about? Because, yes, the traffic you'll be stuck for an hour, possibly. So what is the issue? Why did we move away from that? What happened to the company that was doing that? Shouldn't all cabs have meters?
See, but then you answered your own question. And I don't know, and maybe I shouldn't say that way, I don't know why they're not currently in business at this moment. But if you're on salary, there's a breakdown in that in a contract, right? You could say, for example, I make $400 a week for 5 days, whatever the mathematical breakdown is on that daily. But if you're now in a scenario where if you're running your business properly anyway, right? Scheduling, you have obligations, because here's why. My system is this. Our clients book in advance. They pay before the car ever reaches. But that's the reputation that's been established, right? And the flight's late, if immigration has challenges, if it doesn't matter what it is. If somebody paid for their ride, and within reason, that's a service that they pay for, and I have to eat the cost. If that is something that is constant, how is a business supposed to survive?
Okay, I still, I don't know if I missed something. I still don't know if that.
Dwight, my key point is this. If the Ministry of Transport that regulates public service transportation, right? And it's not just about blaming them, because every stakeholder, cab drivers, tour guys, livery companies, all of us, right? But then our domestic market, since we're talking about that, it seems to be the area of focus that you guys have touched on here. If create a scenario where even if, and here's another opportunity to White, if the local consumers decide, well, the taxi drivers in general are not providing proper service to the domestic market, there are people that have reached out to the regulatory authority about just strictly providing service legally. Mm-hmm. These things that pop up online about Uber and car share and all of those other things, I need people to be mindful of this, Dwight. If something happens to you in the course of your journey, there is no coverage on your part. There is no regulation and no protection for you in the event something happens. But there are opportunities for the government, for the public transportation providers, and for our domestic market, our clients, to come to the table. We have to start there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And nobody's talking about that. People get upset, and there's this assumption that every single public transportation driver, i.e. taxi, because that's what people like to say, they're just not going to pick up payments. That's not so. Go online. Mm-hmm. It's not service providers who could give you horror stories about our domestic clients, mm-hmm. robberies, sitting down somewhere for a significant amount of time, and the people just come out and tell you, well, hey, I don't know what to tell you. I don't need your ride no more. That's time lost. Mm. That's opportunity to make money and provide for their families as well.
Yeah.
But then you have the Road Traffic Department and the Ministry of Transport as well. We could figure this out together if we were serious. I think that's where the conversation really, truly needs to start.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much, Chatson Greg. Always a pleasure. We'll have you back on for a full show soon.
Sounds outstanding.
All right, wonderful.
All right.
A lot to think
some
about
great
there.
Points, right? Dwight?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I'm still saying, though, that how does it work in other places where they have meters? Because I'm sure that they factor in the waiting, the stuck in traffic. But
well, the meter keeps running, so that will work itself out.
Right. So there is a way for it to be done. For me, I'm not getting into whether the rate increase is too much or too little. I'm just saying, how does the charge work? What's the rhyme or reason? Who determines, and why is it a who that has to determine from point A to point B is something, the government or whomever, when we could just have a metered system. You jump into a cab, and this is what your bill is at the end of your ride. In terms of people, domestics or Bahamians who may use these transportation services and then say, oh, I don't need it anymore. Well, you need to have a system where you pay. You need to have a system where you pay when you book.
It's too sensible, so that's why.
You book, and if you don't pay, then of course I'm not coming. And if you pay and I get there, I'm sure if you've already paid, you're not going to come outside and say to me, oh, I don't need the ride anymore. Or if you do, you've already paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Like these things that we're saying aren't new things. They aren't difficult things. They're things that they are being done all over the world. So we're just saying, well, I'm just saying, create a proper system. That's it.
Yeah, we are very unique, apparently. So we that's not for us, it seems. Some tweets here. A unified bus system is the answer. It's imperative that the government do this for the sake of the quality of life of Bahamians, at least those living in Nassau. They also say the taxi drivers are fighting against rideshare apps when they should be the ones who start a rideshare system to address the market of non-hotel and airport riders. They literally would make more money. Let's take this call before we have to take a break here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight and Laverne again.
Hi.
Morning.
Dwight, I'm going to make this statement, and it's going to brush a little bit against what is being discussed thus far, but I think you guys are going to get the understanding of the mindset right now. We know that New Providence Island is overrun with too many cars in this 21 by 7. Do you guys feel that it's about time? We have tried implementing a unified bus service in Nassau. That hasn't worked. We have tried talking to the various.
Have we
bus
really
drivers.
tried? We haven't tried.
Well,
there was
well,
a pilot program funded by, I think it was the IDB, and that was just a couple of months. We haven't really tried at all, and that was that had limited routes. We have not tried.
No, but I understand that. The bottom line still is that they, to a certain extent, then they tried to create something, and it didn't work. We tried talking.
The government changed, and then that was abandoned. It's not that it didn't work, but again, it was a half.
Okay.
Half.
Okay.
Half. Right.
And then they
Maybe
tried
even
this,
quarter.
They tried this mango system. That was a great initiative. I mean, in terms of what they tried to do with it, that was stopped. Now, I'm now moving on. You talk about the other jurisdictions and stuff. Nassau is 21 by 7. We have buses that do not go into certain areas of the island. The previous caller was on to something, and you also were on to something that there's a concern that a lot of Bahamians believe that they cannot get a taxi to come and service in pick up people in some of these areas and so on and so forth for rightful reasons. I just believe now we're going to be futuristic in this 21 by 7 where we're overrun by vehicles. We can't get the level of services that we truly desire, maybe because the leaders, when I say the leaders, those who are not visionary enough to push. They start the initiative, but they would not push the initiative towards completion. My thing is, do you believe that now it's time, in order to connect just about every area of this island right now, to come up with a monorail system or something to that level? I just believe that there is a way to get past all of this, but in order to do so, we have to really think outside a rail system, a metro rail system with different outposts throughout the island, where persons can park their cars, jump on the rail, and ride. If they're coming downtown, if they're down in Yamacraw, they can park their cars out there, catch the rail, come out downtown, drop off, and when they knock off, go back, catch the rail, and go back to get their cars. We got to now think outside of the box. This thing, many things in this country, we keep going over and over and over and over again with hardly no solutions being put forward and a wastage of the taxpayers' money. It always comes down to the wastage of taxpayers' money. We got to find some solutions here. So that is my thought outside of the box, and I'm putting it out there so persons who are hearing me, if they believe that it's a good idea and it falls in the right ears, this can be a form of agitation to at least consider this. To quell some of the problems here, okay?
Thanks a lot.
For taking
And,
my call.
a lot of people proposed this before, actually, Jeff. Right? So either that, tram, all kinds of things, something. I think we even did a show on it years back. But yeah, absolutely, we're well past that. We got to think about the future, how this city is going to grow in. Beyond right now. But we need all of them to be functioning properly. Bus system, taxi system, some other form of modern transportation, preferably solar or electric powered. All of this we need to be thinking about now. We're running out of space for all of this, and we need to figure out a plan for the city in the next decades or so. Yeah, go on, Laverne.
It's bus fare. Is it $1? What? It's $1.25 now, right? Because it's 25 cents increase proposed. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it $1.25 like for anywhere that you go?
Yes.
Or does it increase over, like, depending on where you go? Because, like, here, an example, if I get a bus from downtown to 8 Mile Rock, that costs me more. That will cost me more than if I got a bus, let's say, from downtown to the International Bazaar. If I got a bus from downtown to West End, that's going to cost me more than if I was going to 8 Mile
Oh,
Rock.
you have buses that
You
go
know what I
from
mean?
Freeport
Like
to
that.
West End? Really? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Same
New
thing with
Providence.
East End.
New
Like,
Providence
the same
could
thing
fit.
with East End. If it's going to cost me more if the normal
As
bus
it should,
fare-
Laverne, as it should.
Right.
But
right.
you
So
know.
that's why I'm asking.
No.
If it's the same, or it's just
Laverne.
$1.25 wherever you go.
New Providence is one of the smallest islands in the Bahamas. It can fit,
I know.
3-4 times in Grand Bahama? So you know. Come on.
It's just one flat rate. I don't know. So that's why I'm asking.
Well.
Because I only know, how it works here.
Yeah, sure. Don't give them any ideas, though. Let's take a break, and we'll be back. We got a lot of your text messages to get to. More on this topic. This is Morning Plan Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wait, you know what going down tomorrow? Nobody, what happening? Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in. For what? Wait, he fooled with Joe girl. Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow. So whose side you want? Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight. Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know. Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight. Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and he boys coming for me next. All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight. What I say? I could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you. So how did I avoid? All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you. Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me? When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and you can claim a reward later using that same pen. Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
You've heard of electric cars. Now it's time you drive one. Easy Car Sales welcomes you to experience the power and prestige of the latest electric vehicles. Plug in at home for a 65% discount off your gas bill and never get stuck at the pump again. Build your dreams of a better future with a better car, the BYD EV. Visit easy242.com to book your free test drive today. Save your money while driving in style, only at Easy Car Sales.
RBC debit card holders collecting a new RBC Visa debit chip card just got easier with Saturday opening hours. Visit our Cable Beach, Carmichael Road, Palmdale, and Prince Charles branches March 16th and March 23rd between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. with one form of valid government-issued ID. Start enjoying greater security and contactless features with your new RBC Visa debit chip card now. RBC.
To all homeowners, this is your reminder that Scotiabank encourages all taxpayers to sell outstanding real property taxes before March 31st, 2024. We want to ensure that you're up to date on all tax obligations. Failure to comply may affect your monthly mortgage payments and the total balance owing under your mortgage. We invite you to contact the RPT office of the Department of Inland Revenue or your nearest branch or bank officer if you require additional on top of your taxes with Scotiabank.
Tuberculosis or TB is an airborne disease that mainly affects the lungs. When people infected with TB cough, sneeze, sing, or laugh, droplets with the bacteria that causes TB can be released into the air and may affect others. Some people are at higher risk of developing the disease if exposed to the TB bacteria. If you were in close contact with someone with active TB disease, recently traveled to a country where TB is common, have uncontrolled diabetes, have HIV/AIDS, are malnourished, live or work in a hospital, prison, or nursing home, or are a child under the age of 5 years old who was in contact with someone with active TB, you may be in the tuberculosis high-risk group. Contact your healthcare provider or the Ministry of Health's Tuberculosis Surveillance Unit immediately at 502-4728 or 502-4803. Tuberculosis is preventable and curable. The clock is ticking. Let's end TB.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and this station.
Friday, April 5th, get ready for another exciting Fish Fry Friday. At Margaritaville, downtown Nassau, featuring the big band Visage and DJ Beats with the latest in soca, Bahamian, and old school jazz.
Everybody take a drop. Come to party, I like y'all. Don't want no man.
Ready for dollars general admission, $55 buffet and party.
Doors open at 6:30 p.m., party until 11:30 p.m. That's April 5th, Fish Fry Friday. The stage has been moved, so you've got more dancing space.
Fish Fry Friday, April 5th at Margaritaville, downtown Nassau.
Parking at the point for only $10. See you at Fish Fry Friday. Visage.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Fishermen are frustrated with the way recreational vessels have been classified in the recently tabled Boat Registration Amendment Bill 2024 and the Water Skiing and Motorboat Control Amendment Bill 2024. That's according to Paul Malis, Secretary of the National Fisheries Association. Malis telling Guardian Business that the NFA is hoping to see a substantial reduction in fees in the Water Skiing and Motorboat Control Amendment Bill 2024. He said they've offered numerous reservations about the challenges they have with those two bills together. Minister of Transport and Energy, Jo Beth Colby-Davis, tabled the bills in Parliament yesterday. She defended the need to adjust the fees while cushioning the impact for small boat operators. The bills lump everyone together that are not commercial fishermen, regardless of if they are charter boat owners, second homeowners, or just regular Bahamians that happen to own a boat. Mela says everybody's been lumped together in the recreational fee. He noted that the boats operate in the country for various reasons. You can read more about their concerns in today's Guardian Business section. The New Providence Ecology Park still hopes to turn a methane byproduct into a viable waste-to-energy source. In a press statement celebrating the park's 5th anniversary, NPEP added that the park's methane gas capture and treatment systems could reduce the country's carbon output by about 150,000 tons of carbon dioxide per year. According to the statement, the reorganization of New Providence's landfill means that NPEP has reclaimed land it said can be used for the building of sustainable infrastructure. And the Town Planning Committee has approved Brickell Management Group's site plan for the development of a condo hotel called Seven Beach Condo Hotel Residences at a lot once operated by Nirvana on West Bay Street. The Town Planning Committee said in an email that while the site plan approval was given, Brickell still has to satisfy several conditions. Overseas, the Bank of England kept its main interest rate unchanged at 16 today and avoided signaling, unlike other central banks, when it might start to cut, even though inflation has dropped sharply from the multi-decade peaks. The decision to leave the key rate at 5.25% was widely anticipated in financial markets and comes a day after the U.S. Federal Reserve also kept its benchmark rate steady. But unlike the Fed, the Bank of England gave few explicit indications that it was ready or getting ready for a series of interest rate reductions soon. The Swiss National Bank went the other way by becoming the first major central bank to cut rates in the current cycle with its surprise quarter-point reduction today. Closer to home, in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX. from Wednesday. Your market movers, Consolidated Water up 43 cents, closing at $5.92. Emera Incorporated up 12 cents, closing at $8.65. The Basics All Share Index closing at 2,937.73, up 0.55. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Welcome back to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. Before we go on, we got this special message for RBC clients. Collect your RBC Chip Visa debit card this Saturday from RBC's Cable Beach, Carmichael Road, Palmdale, and Prince Charles Drive branch locations from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Remember to bring a valid ID. Collect your RBC Chip card Saturday at Cable Beach, Carmichael Road, Palmdale, and Prince Charles Drive. Okay, we got a lot of your messages to get to. I want to get to this call really quickly in our final few minutes on this taxi fare and bus fare increase issue. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? No? Okay. Let's get to this message. A lot of people are responding to what Jeff mentioned earlier about a monorail system. Again, others have suggested the same thing. Something needs to happen. Trolley, tram, overhead rail, on the ground rail. I think he's talking about overhead. But people are saying, what? We don't have any space. We barely have space for roads. And a couple other people are agreeing with that. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of junkyards and shanty towns and stuff. If you cleared these spaces, you'd be surprised what could happen. We could learn from some partners we have from all over the world. The Chinese are doing great jobs with this. The U.S. has been doing it for years. Others, you'd be surprised what advice they give you. A critical look at how New Providence is structured. And miracles can happen. Other cities thought the same thing years ago and were able to put in subways and overhead trains as well. So who knows? This texture says here, bus fare in Nassau is too cheap. What? I just started taking the bus to and from work. I was paying $150 thinking that was the cost. But I feel as though the bus fares should be like $2 to $2.50 one way. That's fine if I get cussed, but that's my view. Okay, interesting. This person says meter. I don't have a problem with the what now? Yeah. Anyway, that's what they're saying. Meter. This conversation has inspired me to reach out to Uber and Lyft in an attempt to introduce Bahamas. We'll reach out at a later time on an update. Good luck to you. Again, there've been at least 2 companies that tried it, and they were met with great opposition from the bus drivers, to the point I know of one that had to raise their rates to match with the bus rate. The taxi rates. Taxi rates. So they met the opposition from the taxi drivers, and they had to match their rates, which made little sense, right? People were like, "Oh no, why am I doing this?" But they did pay before they went, Laverne, like others have suggested. But you're paying the same rate as a taxi.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What happens when it's 5 a.m. and there's no traffic on the road? Will the price be reduced? For what? And why should that matter? With the reform of public transit, we must make car registration more strict to prevent any and everyone operating a car, especially recklessly. Okay, you mean the police should do their jobs. That's what you're saying? This texter says here, the major issue with both the taxi and bus systems is the government's involvement. Amen. Remove government and let the through customer participation regulate itself. Well, I don't know. Government involvement in setting the fares for the taxis, which are private. That's weird. But I'm looking at another way. I think the bus system definitely needs to be run by a government. I don't know if it should be the central government, a municipal government, right? Local governments should be responsible. If that's what you want. If that's what you want.
We don't have municipal
Well, then it'll
government.
never happen, right? That's why it hasn't happened, and it'll never happen as long as you leave it up to the central government. But if a city were running the bus system, it would be a totally different story. A very different story. Anyway, the texter goes on to say, Jamaica has a taxi service system run by private companies which have metering. You call a dispatcher. Yeah, I have no issue with that. You call a dispatcher and tell them where you are and your destination. The dispatcher sends the closest taxi to your location. You're told the price of your ride before you get off the phone with the dispatcher. That's how it used to work around here, too. Taxis are a little different than buses. I don't know if it should be private bus system. This is why we have the issues we have. But anyway, another one here before we get out of here. This person says here regarding these bus and taxi fee increases, the constant price increase and weird, crazy challenges of BPL. Here is the one sad, stupid, backwards uniting factor. The Bahamas needlessly runs on fossil fuel. Why aren't the taxis and buses electric? Why isn't BPL supplying them and every Bahamian with electricity generated from the sun's natural power and ocean's natural power should be shielded from and laughing at the fluctuating expenses in crude oil on the global market? I've always wondered what's a different tax, why there isn't an Uber-style system in the Bahamas. Well, wonder no more. How about changing the law to allow only cars 7 years or newer to be imported in the country? Right now it's 10. That will slow down the number of cars being imported, I think. Okay, what and why were you doing that? Just for what? For fun?
Maybe they're speaking to the to what Jeff was saying earlier about.
Well, if we had a reliable
so much traffic.
Okay, well, if you don't have a reliable bus system and affordable taxis, what's going to be the point? What are you trying to do? Why are you trying to create even more hell for people? You can do those things once you have that option. If you don't, what's the point? We can all get behind that if it would be affordable to catch a taxi and if the buses made sense and functioned on a system. They don't. They don't at all. So what are you doing? You're trying to make more headaches for people. We got to put things in order first. There's a whole lot more coming on, but this person says it does cost more to go to Lyford Key. Okay, I hear you. Okay. I took a picture to have hard evidence. I was in my prized Japanese vehicle yesterday that I absolutely love, and I have no intention of replacing anytime soon. A giant gray Kia Sorento purchased apparently from a company here, and they have the license plate number, almost ran me off the road trying to push their way into the line of traffic heading west by Dunkin' Donuts. Bay Street. This ain't about little Japanese cars. This is about dangerous drivers. You just notice the Japanese cars because they are your other. Yes, that's a very good point there. We mentioned that because
because you
no. I mentioned it because they're affordable and people are buying them and disposing of them when they run into problems, and that is a problem because that's part of the reason that's happening is because of these same supposedly public transportation systems that we have or don't have, right? And you will continue to see that in the future if we don't fix this quickly. But here we are celebrating fare increases because that's how people talk in this country. It's bizarre. The most bizarre thing in the world. Yay to fare increases. Anyway, Bahamas. Laverne, thank you so much for being with us this morning. I'll talk with you next week. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.